I apologize, in the last video when I showed you the libraries here, it was, this text was pretty small. I forgot to make it bigger, but bigger now. So these are our libraries, and then so now let's put our data types in. So the first data type, and I've already planned this out. This is something that I planned, and then I built the program a little ways, and I thought, well, maybe I could adjust this a little bit to make it better in some ways. And so I added to it and tweaked it, and that's probably how it's going to work for any project where you're making your own data structures, but unless you're really good at planning stuff out. But so anyway, this structure is going to be called page details. So this is a struct. Basically what that is it's a data type. We're making our own data type. And this data type we need because we're going to take our JSON file and we're going to take the data from that single file and we're going to break that into, chunks of data. The data we want to collect for our data type, or to be a part of our data type. So we have our page title. We have whether or not it's a link to a separate site. So if you look at the Twitter one, that's true because that's a link off of the website. That's literally a hyperlink rather than just a path within our site. So, and then we want the path, so if it's a link, it's going to, be the full path, which this is an outdated Twitter account, so don't try to go into that. I mean, you can try, it's just going to go to nothing. Within our website, these are just relative links. And then we want our content, which is going to be another relative link. This is going to be to the file that where our page content exists, so that the program knows where to look for that. Just a true or false, a Boolean on whether this page is the template file or not. So as you can see, none of these are template except for the template page. And then the index, it's 0 if we don't want it showing on the menu at all. And then 1 through 10, or 1 through however many pages you have for the order that we want it to show on the menu, on just the website menu, like the sidebar menu. So programs, home is going to be at the top. This is number 1. Below that, programs. Below that, poems, and so forth. So in combining these different data types, string, which we're calling title, a Boolean, which we're calling link, path, which we're calling a string, which we're calling path, a string, which we're calling content, a Boolean, which we're calling template, and a 32-bit integer, which we're calling index. These 6 data types combined make up our page details data type, our structure. And then we want a data type that is a set of this page details data type. So basically like an array of pages, essentially. And for that, we're just going to page, and it's going to have, just conventionally we want to capitalize that. It's going to have pages, which is going to be a vector type it's going to be a vector, which in Rust is similar to an array. It's a vector of page details types. So, a common array data type you might have would be like an array of strings. So, an array of, a string, comma, a whole bunch of different strings. Well, that's basically what we have, except for we have an array of our own data type here, page details, that we created. And then we also want to give our data types some functionality. And we can do that with structs. In Rust, you can give them functionality. So, generally programs consist of data, and they consist of functions for manipulating data. So this struct is data. This is just straight up data, right? There's no way to manipulate the data there. It's just straight up data. We can add ways of manipulating that data within the struct, and we're going to do that with this derive keyword. Oops. Like this, derive, serialize. You can see where our libraries come in here. Deserialize, debug. We're just going to copy and paste that. Okay, so now our structs now have the ability, the functionality of serialization. And once again, functionality on a structure is called traits. It's basically like methods on a class. You can think of it very similar to that. What that means is that these structures have the functionality of converting data from a JSON file into a stream of data, and then from a stream of data into this data type here, or this data type here. One more quick note. So we're going to have this map.json file in our website template for basically, putting page metadata down, like the title, the link to the page, the path to the content, that kind of thing. But a lot of static website generators actually put that data. They just have a metadata section at the top of each page, rather than a whole separate file for that. And just for the purposes when I was making this, I thought it would be better to just have it right in, all the pages in one file, almost just like a map of the site, and just everything right there. I can adjust the menu, instead of opening a whole bunch of different separate files to adjust where something shows up on a menu, just adjust it all in one file, that kind of thing. So just a design decision, and probably not the best for everybody, but for the particular use case that I had, it was, I think, the best design decision. So at least it was the design decision that I decided to go with. So that's what we're going with here. I'm glad that I did it that way, and that I'm keeping it that way to show you guys, because it is different than every other site generator, basically. It just gives it a little bit of a uniqueness. It's something unique, and I don't think it's bad design. I think it just makes it unique and gives it a feature that other static generators don't have, that might be useful for some cases. So in the next video, we're going to look at we're going to build some functionality for loading our data into our program. So stay tuned, and thanks for watching. Peace out.